Morning at the Pakistan Bazaar police station in Karachi is usually quiet. Officers rotate shifts, drink their first cup of tea, and prepare for routine neighborhood complaints. At 64 years old, Ali Akbar walked into the station with a deliberate, slow pace. He approached the main counter and placed a heavy construction iron rod in front of the duty officer. Without any visible agitation, he explained that he had just killed his wife and had come to turn himself in. The officers on duty didn't immediately move to arrest him. The confession was so matter-of-fact that they initially suspected he was either suffering from a mental break or attempting a bizarre prank. Within minutes, they realized the situation was real. Akbar had provided the suspect, the weapon, and the confession simultaneously, bypassing the weeks of forensic tracking and investigation that usually follow a homicide. Most violent crimes are followed by an attempt to hide or escape. Akbar's behavior was the opposite, a proactive move from a state of fatal rage to one of complete, organized cooperation. To understand what led to that morning, we have to look at Orangi town. It's a dense residential hub in Karachi, where families live in close proximity and neighborhood life follows a predictable, busy rhythm. Ali Akbar and his 58-year-old wife, Asma Begum, lived in Sector 11 and a half. To their neighbors, they were an ordinary couple entering their later years. Their 4 children had grown up and established their own lives. 2 daughters were married and living elsewhere, while their 2 sons worked during the day, leaving the couple alone in the family home. Akbar claimed a background in the military, specifically citing service in East Pakistan. While investigators are currently verifying these records, the claim suggests a life previously defined by structure and authority. There was no public record of domestic violence or financial instability in the household. Before the night of June 4th, there was nothing to suggest that their domestic life would end in a police station confession. On the night of the murder, the house was empty except for Akbar and Asma. Police records indicate that the violence began after Akbar made a demand for marital relations. Asma explicitly refused him. That refusal triggered a verbal argument that quickly intensified. The disagreement moved beyond shouting, as Akbar's frustration turned into physical aggression. Akbar reached for a solid construction iron rod and struck Asma in the head. The force of the blow was fatal, ending her life immediately. Following the act, Akbar did not attempt to flee the neighborhood. Instead, he locked the house and waited beside his wife's body for several hours until the sun rose. This sequence, locking the doors and waiting until dawn, marks the transition from a moment of uncontrolled anger to a period of cold resignation. By morning, he was ready to present himself to the authorities. The case has now moved into the Karachi court system. Akbar has been remanded into physical custody while police finalize the forensic reports and formalize the charges. While the legal process moves forward, the media response has been fragmented. Different outlets have reported conflicting names for the suspect, turning a private tragedy into a noisy, sensationalized public narrative. True crime stories often search for a mastermind or a hidden conspiracy. This case, however, reveals a much simpler and more common reality of domestic violence. The facts demonstrate that personal boundaries are absolute. A refusal of intimacy is a right that remains in place regardless of a person's age or the length of their marriage. The surrender was the final act in a night where Akbar's actions destroyed his family and his future. With the weapon in hand and his wife dead in their home, he chose the only path left available, walking to the police station to face the consequences.